It's the potential for some freezing rain in parts of central and eastern Kentucky. I'll show you who has a freezing rain advisory coming up.
Kentucky State Police say he took his victim on a wild ride. We're learning about a kidnapping case spanning 2 counties.
And a truck driver who died tragically helping others in Pennsylvania.
A lot of us, we trucked together for a lot of years. The old guys, we're a family.
He's remembered in his hometown. What friends are doing to honor his memory.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. Another messy day around the bluegrass, and tonight isn't looking much better.
Much of eastern and southeastern Kentucky are under a freezing rain advisory. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking a wintry mix on First Alert Defender. Chris?
Yeah, that mix beginning to show up a little better now as temperatures get close to the freezing mark, and that's going to set the stage when you have wet roads, crashing temperatures into the 20s, tricky and some trouble spots developing on area roadways as we go into later tonight. So travel troubles, easy enough for me to say, a good possibility into most areas. Already it's a freezing rain advisory for the southeastern corner of Kentucky. Even though you're not included in this, areas north and west of that, your roads may ice over in some cases later tonight. One of the reasons we're talking about that is we have some drizzle that is falling, and now defenders beginning to pick up on that colder air coming in from the north. Already down to 35 in Lexington, 36 showing up for Richmond and Mount Sterling, Covington at 34 degrees. Look at the mix beginning now to be picked up by defender from Moorhead across the I-64 corridor toward Winchester. What we're seeing across most of central Kentucky now, wet roads, low visibility. Notice the camera here in Richmond has a lot of water on it. The low clouds, the fog, the drizzle falling in Lexington, all of that is just moisture. And as temperatures continue to drop, even as the steady stuff pushes away, we're going to see things begin to ice up. And oh, by the way, wind chills tonight will drop all the way into the teens. It's an active 24-hour period of weather that we'll track for you hour by hour when I come back in a moment.
A Frankfort teenager is in jail tonight, accused of kidnapping someone and forcing the victim to drive him around.
Dwayne Wainscott is charged with kidnapping. Kentucky State Police say Friday night he held an acquaintance at gunpoint and forced the victim to take him to Lexington. Police say the victim was able to get away and call for help. Kristen Kennedy is in Frankfort talking with state troopers in our top story at 5:30.
A man parked outside the Juniper Hills apartments in Frankfort got a disturbing visit from an acquaintance Friday night. State police say 19-year-old Dwayne Wainscott forced his way into his friend's car and held him at gunpoint during a wild ride.
The victim appeared to do everything right in this situation. He didn't agitate his attacker. He did his best to keep him calm.
Kentucky State Police Trooper Kendra Wilson says Wainscott told the driver to take him to Lexington. Court records claim he held the handgun to the driver's chest and threatened his life multiple times, causing what police are calling a terrorizing situation.
The whole event actually ended at a residence, in a residential area, in the Versailles area. When the victim's vehicle broke down, he was able to get away from the suspect by running to a nearby residence.
State police say several days before the kidnapping, Wainscott assaulted his victim. Frankfort police took that report, but they told us they decided not to press charges because the injuries were minor.
This was not a random attack. The subjects knew one another. They had a prior history of violence between one another. And that tends to be the pattern that we see more often.
Wainscott faces a kidnapping charge in Franklin County. Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
The arrest citation states Wainscott told state police if he were to get out on bond, he would leave and they would never find him. His bond has been set at $50,000 full cash.
They say it was in his nature to help others. Tonight, family and friends are remembering a Southern Kentucky truck driver who died last week. Leonard Wayne Mink's tractor trailer was involved in an 18-vehicle pileup in a snowstorm in Pennsylvania. Police say Mink was helping children involved in the pileup when another vehicle hit him. Phil Pendleton shows us how his family and friends honored his memory today.
I'm told that Leonard Wayne Mink loved 2 things on this earth, his family and his truck driving job. And today, those 2 worlds came together in paying respect and honor to his memory. Truck after truck leaving Lake Cumberland Funeral Home, leading the processional for 67-year-old Leonard Wayne Mink.
A lot of us, we trucked together for a lot of years. That's just trucking. For the old guys, we're a family.
An hour after the services for Mink, trucks pulled out to lead the way for the driver known by his handle, Daddy Rabbit.
With Wayne, after 50 years of trucking, he left here by doing what he loved to do.
Mink was killed Wednesday after a snowstorm suddenly reduced visibility on Interstate 80 in western Pennsylvania. He and 18 other vehicles were suddenly stranded. Mink and several other drivers got out to help some kids and were hit and killed by cars that didn't see them.
So I've known him for a lot of years. I trucked with him, his other 4 brothers, in the coal mines, over the road. We've run a lot of years together. And that was just his nature, to help anybody as we all do.
And after all those rigs pulled out of the Lake Cumberland Funeral Home, I'm told that more tractor trailers were waiting to join the convoy en route to his final resting place in the Acorn Cemetery. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Truxell says last weekend it was difficult delivering what would have been Mink's next load and having to drive by the place where his friend died.
State police are looking to curb vandalism and preserve a part of Kentucky's history. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Franklin County. Troopers are putting up several outside security cameras at the old Capitol on Broadway. Over the last several years, we're told police have had several calls of people spraying graffiti on the walls and breaking windows.
The state has had to spend some money to clean up these things. And unfortunately, it's a juvenile behavior that occurs as a result of the old state capitol being kind of a hangout for young kids. We don't want to discourage that, but we would prefer that the graffiti not happen.
Busha tells us the money used to clean up the graffiti comes right out of taxpayers' money. In Shelby County, police are trying to identify 2 people accused of using stolen credit cards. Kentucky State Police say the suspects, a white man and a black woman, used the credit cards at the Shelbyville Kroger and Huck's Food and Fuel. Troopers tell us the purchases totaled more than $700. The suspects are believed to be in a small gray or silver SUV.
This is a story about trust betrayed and tens of thousands of dollars stolen. As Sam Dick reports, there's an important lesson for every business owner.
You're looking at surveillance video from an ATM camera. At the bottom of the screen, Sharon Conley withdrawing money from an account. The problem, it's not her account.
She was a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, that I had known for years.
Susan Winslow says she is still devastated by the betrayal. She and her husband gave Conley a job when she was laid off doing some accounting work for their business.
Almost immediately started to embezzle from the business account. She would go to the bank and she would withdraw funds several times a day, hundreds of dollars at a time.
The crime escalated quickly when Conley applied for a credit card in Susan Winslow's name.
She knew all the information, so it made it easy for her to apply for a credit card.
The credit card was approved. How did it arrive? In the mail that Conley sorted every day.
She starts using it just for personal, everyday expenses.
But getting that credit card also led to Conley's undoing. The credit card company called to speak to Winslow, who quickly realized she knew nothing about this credit card. Conley had embezzled more than $150,000.
We've all had our things in life, but we all don't steal from people. You don't need to steal from people.
Postal inspectors say a checks and balance system is key for all employers, no matter the size of your company.
Who's checking the checker? You got to have someone that reports to that person. There has to be some kind of accountability, and if there isn't, this is the kind of thing that can result.
Conley was charged with aggravated identity theft, mail fraud, and bank fraud, and was sentenced to 3 years behind bars.
A Lexington organization will be back to helping others soon thanks to help from the community. Last week, the Lexington Rescue Mission had to close its doors after a sewer pipe broke. The repairs cost $15,000, but several people have come forward to help foot that bill. This weekend, Home Depot volunteered to prepare the area for repair work.
We're so grateful because Home Depot, for example, came out yesterday, and they'll be back again later to help remove a fence line and remove a ramp out of the way. And just the entire community has been incredibly helpful, and they've given us so much love and support. It's been overwhelming.
The rescue mission hopes that the repair work will be done by Friday.
State officials say Kentucky is on pace to meet its budget. Still to come on WKYT News at 5:30, where the state is making gains.
I'm Bill Bryant. Jack Conway officially files for governor. The man who carried Kentucky in the last presidential race may run again. And the parties pick their candidates in a special election. The bottom line is ahead.
I'm Sam Smith in Winchester, where a woman is accused of giving birth inside a toilet and then putting that child inside a garbage bag. Coming up at 6, we'll bring you the latest on this investigation.